The village was facing a serious problem. Food was running out and the fields were dry. The villagers gathered in the square, looking worried, but Flick stood in the center with a determined expression. She had a plan. Back in her workshop, Flick sketched out a new invention, a food machine that could grow plants faster than ever. With glowing tools and blueprints all around her, her creativity sparked to life. Flick walked through the village, collecting materials for her invention. The villagers handed her pipes, glowing crystals, and sacks of seeds. Together, they worked as a team to help bring her idea to life. In her workshop, the food machine began to take shape. With a glowing central chamber, seed dispensers, and swirling pipes, it looked like a masterpiece of engineering and creativity. With a flip of the switch, Flick powered up the food machine. It hummed to life, and small sprouts began to grow in the planting trays. The villagers watched in amazement. But something went wrong. The machine began overproducing, and enormous vines and oversized fruits filled the workshop. Flick gasped as the plants grew out of control. The giant plants spread into the streets, covering the village in a sea of green. The villagers navigated through the overgrowth, unsure whether to laugh or worry. Back in the workshop, Flick studied the machine closely. She jotted down notes and thought hard about how to fix the overproduction problem. The villagers brought balanced portions of seeds and water to Flick. Together, they discussed how to adjust the machine to grow just the right amount of food. Flick added glowing dials and a timer to the food machine. The updated version looked sleeker and ready to create the perfect harvest. With all the villagers watching, Flick powered up the updated food machine. Small, balanced plants began to grow neatly in rows, bringing smiles to everyone's faces. The fields were lush and green, filled with perfectly grown vegetables and fruits. The villagers worked happily, harvesting the fresh produce under the bright sun. In the town square, villagers gathered with baskets full of fresh food. Flick stood nearby, smiling as the produce was shared among everyone. To celebrate the successful harvest, the villagers organized a grand feast. Tables were filled with delicious dishes, and Flick sat at the center, enjoying the joyful atmosphere. During the feast, a playful child accidentally tipped over a basket of oversized fruits. Laughter filled the air as Flick and the villagers helped clean up the fun mess. Back in her workshop, Flick sat at her desk, flipping through her notebook. The food machine glowed softly in the corner as she sketched ideas for her next invention. As the sun set over the village, the fields glowed with vibrant green and golden hues. Flick stood on a hill, proudly looking at the flourishing village below. In the village square, the villagers decorated the food machine with flowers and ribbons as a symbol of gratitude. Flick stood in the middle, smiling brightly. Under the shade of a tree, Flick relaxed with a small fruit in her hand. She took a moment to reflect on the adventure and the difference she had made. As the moonlight bathed the village, the fields glowed softly, and the food machine stood quietly in the square. Flick's workshop light shone faintly, hinting that her next idea was already in progress.